Awesome. Great seeing everybody early Sunday morning. Wow. Should be in church or Sunday school. So, well, great. We'll kick this off. Really happy to be here and share some of our experiences here with Michelle and myself over at Amazon and AWS. I think we'll start out a little bit, kind of give a little bit of context. Michelle, like where you live within MetLife and the organization within marketing. And once you've done that, I'll talk a little bit about where I sit within Amazon.
That's great, but first we should say, wow, we are 9:30. Look at the crowd out there. I've been so impressed with this event. You guys have done such a great job. So, and Mel, and Jared, and David, and everyone deserves a big round of applause. You know, with us up early after daylight savings. So, yeah, so I sit in the global organization at MetLife, and I head up a global brand and marketing strategy, as well as marketing sciences, which I know sounds very sexy, right? Which is really about, understanding customer insights and helping our businesses to drive solutions for our customers, but measuring impact along the way too.
That's great. Just a little background for me. I sit within AWS, and I lead the marketing transformation for AWS for our customers. So we're trying to drive, digital transformation for marketers with both AWS as well as Amazon. So we're doing a lot of pan-Amazon or one Amazon initiatives where we're bringing Amazon insights, both retail insights, advertising insights, along with AWS technology to drive transformation for our customers. So it's kind of a fun and interesting combination of our business units. So talking about innovation, being customer-centric is really important, to be able to innovate. And I know you're kind of at the center of customers and being customer-centric. Can you talk a little bit about how your organization is becoming more customer-centric with some of the insights?
Yeah, so, I think being customer-centric anymore is probably a different challenge for us across our businesses, right, in new different ways. And what we've seen change is that there was a real desire, pre-pandemic, a real desire for companies to be authentic and transparent and honest. And then during the pandemic, that actually exponentially increased, right? And that's up against the backdrop of digital accelerating as well, right? And I think on one hand, you could see those things being competing needs almost. But really, I think it's our job and our challenge to figure out how do we help make those competing needs, how can we complement each other, and really get to a lean, digital-first kind of organization, but also retain some humanity and build stronger and stronger connections with our customers.
Yeah, I think empathy and trust is incredibly important, especially under times of uncertainty with your customers.
Yeah, and I ask you the same thing. I think it's a big challenge. How are you facing customer centricity?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like when you look at both the intersection of the Amazon world and AWS, I would say the AWS side, we're remaining customer centric all the time. We have this concept of working backwards. So if you've heard of that concept, there's actually some books that have been written about it, but essentially it's starting with the customer and working your way back. And so whether it's an AWS customer who's looking for a solution to solve a business problem, or whether it's a consumer who's looking to find something online shopping, or an Amazon Prime Video user who's looking to engage with our video business, we always work back from the customer. And we actually also do something other interesting is that we don't use PowerPoints. We write papers. So you have to be a writer and you write narratives. You write 2 to 6 page narratives and you work your way back from the customer. And then you use those narratives in order to gain alignment across the org.
That's a challenge. P&G, I grew up at P&G. We always had a one pager that we had to do, which is really good. I think through your real recommendation
yeah, it's interesting. You start off with 2, and then it goes to 6, and then you have all these appendices, so it ends up being 10.
Exactly.
So, kind of, you talked about the desire to become more human and using that to kind of accelerate digital within the company. What are some of the KPIs that you use to really kind of gauge the effectiveness of those insights?
Actually, have a lot. I would say there's a few things that we invested more in, which is really understanding. I really want to keep it out here. It's like right in my head. But we've invested more in understanding the health of our customer relationships and really understanding what matters most to them, and then rallying the entire organization around that as a KPI and as a shared goal, really, to improve customer relationships and have that be one of our key metrics for a very important stakeholder.
Yeah, you have that. It's called Net Promoter Score.
Yeah, it's
RNPS. Yeah, it's really interesting. In terms of your particular category, like gaining trust and financial services and getting insights from both, I guess you've got the customer, which is the intermediary between you and the consumer, and then you've got consumers that you're engaging with as well. So how do you prioritize, gathering insights across both the customer as well as the intermediaries you work with?
Yeah, well, there are customers too in a lot of cases. But, I would say why it's important in our category in particular is because, financial services, in particular insurance, is a very low engagement category. So you were just talking about all the engagement points. There are very few. So the ones that you have, you really have to make those work hard, right? And, it's not a historically customer-friendly product and service set either. But, the category is going through a massive transformation. And one of the things, in order to be more customer-centric, and one of the things that you might think, especially as we go more and more digital, is that we don't need that intermediary anymore, right? It kind of challenges that model. And I think what we're finding, and some insights that on both across all of those stakeholders, is that it's actually that the role shifts, and there's even greater need sometimes to have places that matter to engage where their role is maybe more of advice versus a transaction. And so there's actually it's a more valuable role on both sides. And, it's kind of interesting to think about the innovation that we can bring when we change the equation.
Yeah, how do you kind of like the juxtaposition of becoming more human-centric, but then also using digital technology to kind of engage the consumer, but do it in a human way? Maybe you should share some examples when you spoke about how using digital to engage the consumer, but then do it in a human-centric way.
Yeah, well, I think, without a doubt, our customers, want to feel a connection with us for sure, right? Even as the world becomes more and more digital. But again, that's our job to figure out, like, how do you bring humanity to those touch points? And what's the role of humanity at those touch points? And sometimes that does not mean you have to have a human being to be human. And just like digital, right, doesn't necessarily mean it's only faster, right? That's not the only role digital plays. So really we started with, of course, the customer journey and figuring out, what are those moments that really, really matter. And then we dig into those moments and, figure out what's the customer trying to accomplish in this moment, right? What preferences might they have in this moment as well? And sometimes those preferences too, and how they connect. They may be preconceived notions, right? They may be based on experiences they've already had, whether it was with you or a different category or whatever. So it's their expectation. And then you kind of get under that to say, can we change this experience? Can we make this experience better? Can we make this experience feel more human? And so some of those preferences might be like very self-directed, but it's all about ease, and I want to be able to be in control and know where I want to go. And then in some cases, it might be more like I need personal assistance. And so I think one of the examples I was sharing with you is you would think, oh, personal assistance, I'm going to have to pick up the phone, talk to my agent, talk to someone at customer service. You can actually have a very human experience if you design it correctly with a chatbot that actually feels human, right? And we saw at the right moment, where we designed this experience, we actually saw our NPS scores go up after they used the chatbot, right? Because they got their needs met. It was very personal. They felt like, it was a human experience, and it actually creates a relationship and strengthened the relationship with us.
So an interesting thing about the insights that you find through your research, how do you action those insights across the organization? Because you obviously have different stakeholders. You work with your global, so you work with different geos. You probably across brands, so you work with different brands and different groups within the organization. And I assume probably even agencies as well that maybe need to be briefed on these insights in order to better inform their marketing campaigns.
Yeah, so insights are everywhere, right? But you really have to look at, I would say, a couple of different levels of insights. Of course, there's the here and now. Like our businesses want immediate insights, and we can't waste any time socializing those, right? We need to get those right out to the right people. We have especially teams that are formed around customers, cross-functional teams that want to take those insights and action them. So we prioritize making sure that those teams have real-time insights and data to work from to better relationships with customers. There are other things that I would say are more like signals and maybe thought pieces where we want to socialize that in a different way to different stakeholders. And so we're starting to actually during the pandemic, this was wonderful. The only wonderful thing really that came out of the pandemic is that everyone actually cares what our customers say and think and feel. And I think that's awesome for all of us as yes, and people. But it also brings a new sense of passion, and interest to our work. And so we started thinking more like publishers and journalists, and how can we write thought pieces and create change and action within our organization versus we did this study, let's do a readout of the information, right? So we started a customer, wasn't really a newsletter, it was like a roundup really of interesting insights across the globe, okay? Different kinds of insights, looked at competition, what's competition doing, trying to get insights from there. And then, got that into people's hands real time. They were written, there wasn't a deck, right? It wasn't like PowerPoint deck of slides and slides. It was really written up like a little newsletter, right? And then we would have webinars. And we had people join the webinars. It was people from the business talking about how they use these insights and helped make change in their organization, which was amazing, right? Again, it wasn't a readout of any of the insights, it was how we're actually taking them and using them. And then I think something that definitely has been very, very successful, especially for these cross-functional teams that are focused on our customers, is having immersion sessions. And we call them immersion sessions in the data because we bring these insights and we talk about them. We immerse ourselves with them. And then the teams break up and take it away almost as homework to go off and do root cause analysis or think about why is it that way? How can we make a change? How could we have an action plan in place? How could we refine that action to better understand the insights and action those to make customer relationships better? So this is a process we've been doing for many years now, and it's just part of the culture of immersing yourself in the insights, coming up with really impactful actions, and then measuring the impact of those actions and having that be a real virtual cycle of learning and measuring and action.
Now, those immersion days, how did they work before the pandemic versus now?
That's a good question. You know what? Well, these particular sessions that I'm talking about, we actually were planning to go into each of the markets and, have these. And then the pandemic happened, and we were like, how are we going to do this virtually? We're not here free of doing it virtually. It's amazing. It's so good. And it's very interactive. And you can break out into groups. You can use sharing devices, co-create together. Like it's actually been, I think, probably just as if not more productive than if we were flying around everywhere and trying to do that.
Yeah, any global organization, it's hard to get people together, period, by the way. But I think virtually is a little bit of Zoom fatigue, or I don't know if you guys use Zoom or collaboration technologies that you use to kind of support those immersion days.
We do, yeah. Of course, we use WebEx, and we've been using some digital collaboration tools like Miro, etc. So, which is helpful.
We've had to get really creative. We do a lot of working backwards sessions. We run digital innovation sessions for our customers. We also we have executive briefing centers we bring them into. We also do working backwards sessions with our customers as well. Generally like to bring them in for like 2 days of workshops. But it's been really hard to do that during the pandemic. So we've resorted to doing like multiple virtual sessions, and we have to break them up because there's just too much fatigue being on the call all day in the workshop. So we generally like break out different topics, and we have different topics, and then we bring that all together at the end, and then kind of do debrief as well.
Yeah, we do that too. We talk it up. You can't do an 8-hour workshop on WebEx. That's not going to work out.
So I know, talking about maybe some examples of how you use one of those immersion days to make a change in either the customer experience or maybe an actual way you action those insights to make the experience better for your customers.
Well, I think one of the things that came out of the actual analysis and what matters most in relationships was trust again, and that was kind of common across a lot. It was a key driver of the relationship, right? And so I think that we experimented. So we wanted to get under the hood of what does trust really mean, especially not like how you can lose it, because that's obvious very quickly, but really how can we build it, right? And get under the emotion of trust. So we launched some research, did some research to really do that and figure out what are the emotions, but then also what are the actions that you could take to build trust. And so we experimented in this way a little bit. We did a lot of journaling with customers, people really trying to figure out so what does trust really mean to you, and in this category or that category, across the board in your life. And then also use some facial recognition to really understand the emotions behind what they were saying, but maybe what not they weren't, or maybe what they weren't saying. And then we co-created ideas with people. And, which
crowdsourcing.
well, yes, and it's amazing some of the ideas that people come up with, right? And then, of course, we validated those quantitatively. But some of the things that came out of some of those ideas and actions, they would surprise you in the fact that they aren't hard to do, and they don't necessarily cost a lot of money. So, for example, we're a category or a business that needs to deliver on promises, right? And one of those actions is paying our claims. Well, of course we're going to do that because we're going to deliver on our promise, but just knowing that, like people knowing and the magnitude of promises that you keep, knowing that the process is simple and easy, even if you don't go through the process, but that actually builds trust with those companies. The other one is employee sentiment. So there's a big belief that as companies treat and care for their employees and care about the experience their employees have within their company, that carries over to how they care about their customer experience as well. So knowing that. And then I think the third way is really product understanding, complex category, using simple human language to talk about our products and services also builds trust because, people don't feel like you're trying to hide, or hide behind, complexity and legality.
Yeah, so these insights, you share those with your agencies so it can start to inform the way you do their messaging?
Yes, of course. That's a big part of some of the insights as well.
Cool. I think last thing I wanted to do before we wrapped up is you've got a really interesting career. You spent time at P&G, Kimberly-Clark, Samsung, MetLife, a lot of large global companies that are working both with consumers as well as customers. So I'm sure you had to be very resilient in your career and you should kind of pivot from one company to another. But are there some themes that you could share with the audience around how you transitioned during your career?
Yeah, I think that's something we all need to kind of keep in the forefront, really. On one hand, the ability to adapt to change, I think, is such an important skill. So resiliency is something that now more than ever, not only for us, but also for our customers, I think is really important. And it's a skill that you build, right? I mean, it's not just like taking whatever comes at you, but you build resiliency and you do that by practice, I think, too. And so for me, I'm glad you didn't say how long that journey was, thank you for that. But I've always approached that as it's a real opportunity to take the curvy road, and maybe the one that's a little less traveled, as well. And it not only builds resiliency because you have to figure out like how do I ramp up quick and how do I deliver value and how do I learn, but it also puts you in an uncomfortable space, and then you start to be more comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's almost like at least I do, I crave that sometimes. Like I want that change now because I know I can be resilient and figure it out. And it brings like new energy and interest to the work that I do.
I think that I can kind of second that. I spent time with Coca-Cola, Dooley, Amazon. So I think moving around actually I think is really good for your career as well as just kind of learning, constantly learning and taking on new challenges. And I think even doing that across different geographies, different brands, and then being able to do that across there's a different ethos of different organizations, and you take away a little bit from each brand. Certainly, Deloitte works a lot differently than Amazon. It works a lot differently than Coca-Cola. But I think that's been a really interesting thing to take away.
Well, and I talked about that yesterday, actually. It was such an awesome women's panel up there yesterday. It was so much fun. So much fun. I think that's another approach to diversity, right? Like bringing diverse thinking. Of course, like your inherent demographics help you do that, but also your experiences, like whether that's at different companies, different industries, living in or working in different culture environments, all those kinds of things, I think help bring different perspectives.
I mean, you are an AMA, you're a board member in various organizations, you're kind of giving back to the marketing community. You're heavily involved in brand innovators, so can you talk a little bit about how you're giving back to the industry?
Well, things like this, I think are a huge give back, right? Like, I've connected with so many people that I didn't know before I walked into this room. And and reconnected with some people. And I think that's part of giving back for sure. Building a sense of community among us, I think is a big part, and forums like this are amazing for that. But I also think that there's a role that we can play, whether it's the Ad Council that I'm on, or Marketing Society, or other organizations where you lean into the some of the causes that they have. So for me, personal passion is getting women into more non-traditional roles. And I started as a mechanical engineer actually in the plant at P&G, and then moved to marketing. And so I love, coaching, mentoring, trying to sponsor women, especially getting into STEM and STEAM roles. And I've accomplished one child. My son is going into mechanical engineering. And I got my daughter next year to sign up for an engineering class in high school. I was like, I'm so excited because it's a problem solver, right? I mean, like it's a great skill to have, and I think it just makes us more aware.
We're always looking for great women engineers.
All right, hey, time flies when you're having fun. Time to go. Everybody give it up for Michelle and Paul. Sorry, time flies when you're having fun.